Hey there, friends, and welcome back to another 3-Minute Thoughts. My name is Derek, and in the next 3 minutes, we're going to go back into the Psalms for a little bit more time of worship, prayer, and pleading with God. Okay, we're going to look at Psalm 26, 40, 58, 61 and 62, and then 64. I know there's a lot of these, but usually these are really, really short. So Psalm 26, David is under suspicion or attack, and he appeals to God for justice. Vindicate me, O Lord, for I have walked in my integrity, he says. He contrasts his life with the wicked and reaffirms his love for God's presence. When falsely accused, walk with integrity and trust God to clear your name. This is what David teaches us through Psalm 26. So if we move to Psalm 40, it's about waiting patiently for the Lord. This is a pretty amazing psalm for deliverance and testimony for God's presence in trouble. He says in verse 1, I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined to me and heard my cry. David celebrates God's faithfulness in rescuing him and planting his feet on solid ground. But the psalm turns again to a cry for help, as in verses 12 and 13, he says, evils have encompassed me beyond number. As we look at this, we see that testimony and trouble often live side by side. We should praise God for past help and keep calling on him for present needs. Psalm 58 is a strong, what we call imprecatory psalm, which is a psalm about judgment. David laments over corrupt leaders. He prays for God to break their power and let the righteous rejoice when justice is done. God is not blind to injustice, and it's okay to pray honestly when we're facing evil of any kind. Then as we move on to Psalm 61 and 62, we see that in Psalm 61, David feels far from home and he's desperate. He asks God to be his refuge and to preserve his life and calling as a king. When you're overwhelmed and far from solid ground, God is your higher rock and your eternal shelter. Psalm 62 is a deep expression of trust and stillness in the midst of attacks. David warns against trusting in riches or violence, and he encourages others, saying, trust in him at all times. Pour out your heart before him. That was verse 8. When life shakes, anchor your soul in God. He is a fortress that will not fail. Psalm 64 is where we end for today. David is once again facing enemies who plan to ambush and slander his name, but he trusts God will shoot his arrow first. God is not unaware of secret schemes. He defends his people in his time. These psalms walk us through false accusations, public injustice, secret plots, emotional fatigue, and spiritual resolve. They're perfect companions to David's story of 2 Samuel, reminding us that God who walked with David will also walk with us. Be well, friends.